The purpose of any company has nothing to do with profit. However, profit does act as your scorecard. If the company isn't turning a profit or holding a valuation much higher than the cost to build it, it's failing. Last year, we helped several dozen companies nearly, if not more, than double profits with one swift move. And today, I'm going to show you how they did it. But before we go there, we need to make sure that we're on the same page with what profit is. As I've realized over the years, it's seen differently by different people. Profit is not a dirty word, and everyone in the company should be working very hard together to achieve a healthy profit. For a service-based business, a generally healthy profit sits around 15 to 20%. A very healthy business turns anywhere between 20 to 30%. And if you're falling below 10%, your business may be on life support, meaning you're one bad move or unfortunate circumstance away from being a little over your head. Keep in mind, this is a broad statement and it's circumstantial. There have been many times with my businesses where I knew we were going to heavily invest in certain things and it affect profit for the time being, but it was an investment to achieve even greater revenue and profits in the future. That's okay. I've also met people whose profits were 35 to 40%, some even higher. This isn't necessarily good or bad. However, there have been quite a few times where when I seen it that high, that top line revenue growth sort of came to a halt. Reinvesting back into the business to either continue growing it or for the opportunity to hire people to take things off the owner's plate so they can expand the operation in other areas are crucial. Because if the company isn't growing, well, then you may lose good people since good people want to grow, and if the company doesn't, well, financially, it's hard for anyone else to grow. In fact, research done by Deloitte found that companies with higher profit margins have 50% higher employee retention rates than those with lower margins. And you can keep employees that keep getting better along the way, as a study by Harvard Business School found that companies with higher profits invest more in helping employees train and develop. And when I see the net profit margins below 10%, it's usually due to one of 7 reasons. 1, not making enough sales. 2, not selling enough things to existing customers. Not keeping customers long enough. Too much fat in the business, meaning unnecessary expenses or expenses that are out of budget for the company's current revenue. Mismanagement of money. Inefficient systems and processes. And finally, poor pricing model. If any of these 7 areas is suffering, the business struggles to maintain profit. If 2 or more exist, it's really a tough game to play. And even if the service it provides is amazing and customers love it and it's changing thousands of lives and employees are happy, but the company isn't turning a profit, it could be bad news really quickly. When COVID happened, those that weren't profitable, or at least doing 15% or more in profit, were in a ton of trouble compared to those going into it with 30% margins. When dips in the economy occur, or a few employees quit, a marketing campaign bombs, a realization that money was mismanaged, whatever, there are many things that can go wrong with owning a business, and anyone that's owned one for more than a few years can understand this. When March 2020 came around, I saw many companies let go of many people. By the way, I'm not saying it's wrong to do that. We always have to do what's best for the whole of the company, and sometimes you do have to cut off an arm to save a life. Fortunately, I learned my lesson in the 2008 recession and focused hard when the economy was good on money management, budgeting, and earning a healthy profit. Our company dropped in monthly revenue by more than 68% at its peak during COVID, and not one employee was let go. Again, I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. I'm just sharing what I did. And that was able to be done because of the profits we stacked in the years prior and our ability to manage it well along the way. But profits aren't only good for protecting you during bad times, but also for being able to jump on great opportunities when they present themselves. Maybe there's a business next to you that's looking to move, and you can expand by knocking down the wall and increasing the space in which you can serve more customers. Or if a competitor is looking to sell, you can immediately acquire a space that's generally already built out, as well as a book of business, a list of prospects, and a staff you could possibly hang on to. Having to say no to great opportunities that can help you achieve your company's goals faster simply because you can't afford it, man, that hurts. Profits fuel growth. A study done by Bain & Company found that companies with higher profits grow at twice the rate of their competitors. Okay, so how can we increase profits? Well, let's go back to the list of how we can hurt it and then just flip it around. Get more customers. Get customers to buy more things from you. Keep customers longer. Trim the fat in the business. Manage money well. Create maximum efficiency in the company's systems and processes, and improve the pricing model. Out of all of these options, one of them can be done the fastest and easiest. In fact, it can be done by tomorrow and quite possibly have the greatest impact on your company's profitability. When most people think of marketing, they think of running ads, posting online, email blasts, and all the other stuff that falls under only one of the 4 P's of marketing: promotion, which is where those all live: ads, posting, email, text, and so on; placement, product, and finally, pricing. In future videos, I'm going to dive deeper into the first P's of marketing, so be sure to subscribe to this channel and set the notifications for on. But for now, we're focusing on the 4th P, pricing. Tim Ferriss says pricing strategy is the single most powerful lever you have to increase profitability. Neil Patel says price is the most powerful weapon in your marketing arsenal. One of my favorite books on pricing is by Herman Simon, and it's called Confessions of a Pricing Man. He's hands down one of the best in the world at helping companies get their pricing strategy right. And he says price is the only element in the marketing mix that generates revenue. The others are just costs. Your revenue is made up of only 2 things: the amount of things that you sell and the price in which you sell them. Those 2 multiply together, that's your revenue. Last year, we had over 80 businesses adjust their pricing. Some increase pricing every other year, some do it every year, and we even saw a few that did it a few times per year. Pricing strategy is not a one-time move. It's an element in the mix that should be optimized regularly, just like you do with your product and your ads and sales process and all that. Many of these businesses doubled their profits last year, and a few even more than tripled their overall company profit in just one day. So how did they do it? Well, let's run the math. Imagine your business is doing $50,000 per month in top-line revenue, and that's made up of 250 customers that pay you $200 per month. 250 customers times $200 per month, that's $50,000 in monthly revenue. Now, let's say your business is currently producing a 10% net profit, meaning after all expenses are paid, people, software, rent, equipment, everything, you're left with 10% or $5,000 in overall net profit. Stay with me. If we increase our pricing to all of our existing customers by a mere rather unnoticeable 10%, the average customer would now be paying an average of $220 per month, as 10% of 200 is 20. Add that 20 to the average $200 fee, and we're now at $220. That may not seem like much, but here's the thing. That all goes straight to the bottom line. So when you take $220 times 250 customers, you're not producing $50,000 in monthly revenue anymore. You're now at $55,000 a month in revenue. That's an extra $5,000 per month on top of your current $5,000 net profit, putting you now at $10,000 in monthly profit, or 20%, a very healthy margin. Also, in order to get that $5,000 with your old pricing, you'd need to gain 25 members in order to do it, as $5,000 divided by $200 is 25. Plus, you would have marketing costs associated with those new members. So if your average customer acquisition cost is $150, you would have spent an additional $3,750 to gain those 25 new members. You see how it starts stacking up? By the way, if you want to learn more about customer acquisition costs, I did a whole free training on it along with lifetime customer value, and you can watch it 100% for free if you go to loudrumor.com/LTV-CAC. Okay, I've done this talk a few times at events, so I have an idea of what some of you might be thinking. You're either the scarcity mindset person thinking, yeah, but what if a ton of people cancel? Or the abundance mindset person thinking, well, what if I up my price to $250 or $299 per month instead? Last year, of the businesses that upped their price and surveyed, we had a less than 3% cancellation rate at the point of price increase. This means if the example business we use lost just 3% of their members, they would have lost about 8 members. 8 members times the $200 that they were paying means they lost $1,600 in monthly revenue. In exchange, we not only gained $4,840 from the 242 clients that didn't cancel and paid the extra $20, but also an extra $20 per month from every future customer as well. And we, of course, avoided paying any marketing expenses or sales commissions to earn that extra revenue. It's worth it. And as for the other question, yes, I think many businesses I meet with could have increased pricing by much more than 10%, as they were way overdue for a price increase anyway. In a recent episode on our podcast with Laurel Roach, she shared with me a story that didn't really surprise me much because I've heard many just like it. She raised her pricing from $199 per month to $250 on her existing members, very few cancellations and no negative impact on sales or closing rates. So she increased it again from $250 to $300, and again, very few cancellations and no negative impact on sales or closing rates. This means she increased pricing by 50%, 5 times more than the example I gave earlier. So if she had 250 customers paying her $200 per month, and now they're paying $300 per month, her top line revenue jumped from $50,000 to $75,000 per month, an increase of $25,000, not only in revenue, but in profit. That's an extra $300,000 per year in profit, and it was done very easily and very quickly. To watch the full interview with Laurel, we've added the link in the description below. Also, our stats are great, but more stats are better. Use the comments below and let me know how often you increase pricing in your business. Also, if you've had any experiences, good or bad, when doing so. And lastly, if you like this video and you want to see more like this, just let me know in the comments what you'd like me to do a free training on, and we'll add it to the pipeline.